Hi, it's Quainy here and welcome to my greatest hits. Now this video got me a lot of views, yeah? And it's about the origins of modern day Israelis. Let's go. Quainy here. I watched a documentary this morning about the true origins of the people in Israel now, the Khazars, and where they really come from. And there was an American basketball player called Kyrie Irving who put a link on his Twitter to this documentary about it, and he got the biggest backlash. He's in danger of losing his job, press conferences, all this because he dared to direct people to a history documentary. So I'm going to basically break it down for you and show you in these maps what he was talking about. I'm not going to get fired. The press ain't going to come for me. So let's go. So what this documentary was saying is that the people in Israel today who claim the land, yeah, and say it's theirs from 3,000 years ago, are actually from here, Ukraine. Now what's interesting, they are the Khazars. They are descendants of an empire that was once in this land called the Khazar Empire. And in the 8th century, they en masse converted to Judaism. Now what's interesting about this is that the Khazars had enemies, yeah? Now, think of modern-day Ukraine. Who are modern-day Ukraine fighting with? Russia, okay? And Israel say that they want to destroy which country? Iran. They blame Iran for everything, yeah? Iran, back in those days, when the Khazars converted to Judaism, was part of the Achaemenid Empire. Okay, and it went right up, basically sharing a sea with the Khazar Empire. So, what is now modern day Iran was then Persia, which was part of the empire that was now threatening the Khazars. And to the north of the Khazars was Russia. So, now we have the people in Israel today and the people in Ukraine today are fighting the same enemies that they were fighting in the 7th and 8th century. So why did the Khazars convert en masse to Judaism? Well, because Judaism was highly respected by the Muslims. It was a highly respected religion. The Muslims knew that there could be no Islam without Judah or Judaism. So in a way of protecting themselves from the encroaching Islamic armies, they converted en masse to Judaism and out of paganism. Why didn't they just convert to Islam? Well, you need to ask the people of the Khazar nation who decided that they were going to become Jews and not Muslims. So let's look at the movement of these people from Ukraine, these Jews from the Khazar nation. They went west and east. They basically moved into countries or lands around them. That's why so many were found by the Germans in Germany, in Poland, in Czechoslovakia, in Russia. They spread to the lands around them. They did not go from here as Jews all the way to Spain. Why do I mention Spain? Because the people who were expelled by the Romans from Judea mainly followed throughout the lands of the Roman Empire. And then those lands eventually became the lands of the Islamic Empire. And when they crossed into Spain, they went with the Moorish Islamic armies into Spain. So that's how the Jews got into Spain and Portugal. They didn't come via Ukraine. So you got two different Jewish peoples moving around. The Jews that were expelled from the land of Judea by the Romans went west, they went east into Persia, and they've been there for 2,000 years, and they went south into Africa, into Ethiopia, Sudan, and some say even west, into West Africa. So how do we know that the Jews who were the Khazars were not the same Jews who lived in the land of Judea at the time of the Romans? Well, A person from Ukraine today does not look like an Egyptian. According to the Romans, Egyptians and Jews, or people from the land of Canaan, basically all look the same. If we go back to the Bible and we go back to the story of Jesus and Mary and Joseph, when they run and hid from King Herod, where did they run to? Egypt. And they hid in Egypt. How could you hide in Egypt if you had the features or the blonde hair or the blue eyes of a Ukrainian? Would you not stand out in the land of Egypt? So we have the real Jews moving with the Romans and later the Islamic armies throughout their empires. And we have the Khazaric Jews moving throughout the lands of Eastern Europe, where they would be murdered en masse by the Germans during the Second World War. They would be taken from these countries. The Germans were not taking them from North Africa. So it's funny how we now have war with Ukraine and Russia, age-old enemies. And the Khazars, being Ukrainians, who now live in the land of Israel, their biggest enemy are the Iranians, who back in the day were the Achaemenid Empire, which was bordering their nation. So the Ukrainian peoples now and the descendants of them are still at war with the same people they were at war with 1,400 years ago. My last point is that DNA tests are banned in modern day Israel. You're not allowed to take them. But I watched a video recently of American Jews. Let's go to America. White American Jews doing DNA tests. And not one of them found DNA that linked them to the land they say is theirs, the land of Israel. All the DNA that they were coming up with was from here, Europe. So when you expose true history, people will come for you, as Kyrie Irving has found out. I hope that was informative. Please like and subscribe, and I'll be back with more of Quainy's Greatest Hits from TikTok. See you later.